One day I learned a valuable lesson. Just shut up. It's good advice. If I ever meet newlyweds or engaged couples, I always tell the dude, bro, just shut up. You don't know how good this advice is, but it's advice I wish I'd gotten a long time before I had to figure it out on my own. I got terrible advice from my married friends at my reception. And I blame the open bar for that, looking back. I was engaged for 1.5 years. They never said a word. Then there was free Kettle One for 4 hours. Now I got 27 Dr. Phil's popping up every 5 seconds. And my one buddy, I knew it was going to happen. I told her a week out. I said, listen, he's probably going to get pretty drunk at our reception. And my only ask of you is if you see him talking to me or even walking my way, you pull me aside or I'll be stuck with him all night. She's like, don't worry about it. So sure enough, he's wasted. Okay, we all knew he's wasted. He's breakdancing by himself on the middle of the dance floor to the soundtrack from Aladdin during appetizers. We all knew. So he goes into his backspin on Friend Like Me, finishes. We lock eyes. He gets up. He starts stumbling my way. I try to find her. She's leaving the room. I was like, oh boy, here we go. And I've known this dude since we were 3 years old. I've never seen him this drunk. I was like, hey man, you having a good time? Are you serious? This is the best wedding I've ever been to. And let me tell you something. I was laying over there, and I was like, I've been married for a minute, What kind of best friend would I be if I didn't give my boy advice about marriage on his wedding night? So listen, if I was just going to give you just one really good pee. Sorry, sometimes I can feel her walking up behind me. It's just... Just pick your battles. That's what every one of my married friends told me. They said, pick your battles. They said it like it was a secret. Top level intel. I was finally allowed to hear it. Pulled me aside. They're like, dude, it's so easy. Just pick your battles. It's terrible advice. What does it mean on paper? It means if I only argue my side every once in a while, I get to win that time. No, you don't. You never get to win. There'll be times you think you've won. She might even say, fine, you win. You have no idea how bad you've lost at this point. I don't like the word battles. I don't think that's accurate. Very dramatic. 90% of the things you argue about when you first get married are so dumb. She came up to me one time, come here, you got a peeper. What? You have a peeper. What's a peeper? Josh, the white stuff in your eye when you wake up in the morning. Peeper. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. She's like, why? What do you call it? I was like, sleep? That doesn't make sense. Yeah, it does. That's what it's called. So it's at like one side, but it's both, Jennifer. You have a piece of sleep in your eye, or you have some sleep in your eyes. It's the same word, singular and plural, like deer or fish, right? So we're going back and forth, knowing neither one of us is using the medical term for whatever that stuff is when you wake up in the morning. But my idiot friends are in the back of my head going, dude, you're about to decide what that's called in this house for the rest of your life. You might want to see this one through to the end. So I was like, all right, battle pick, let's dance. This is it. This is the one. I picked this one. I would like to select this battle to be mine. You could have the next 10, 15. I don't know, I was not given a number. I would like to choose this battle. She had no idea what I was talking about. It should have been over right then and there, according to legend. Nope. 2 hours later, I say sleep. She says peepers. I'm like, I'm sick of arguing about this. Let's just call somebody else. We get her friend Heather on the phone. Well, I say crusties. Crusties. You kidding me? It's for your nose. You got a crusty or there's a bat in the cave. We're not even talking about this. So we call my friend Dave. I say eye boogers. I'm a grown man. I'm not going to call him eye boogers. Why didn't I just shut up? If I just shut up, I'd be sitting on the couch all by myself playing Call of Duty in a much better mood. What's that, peeper? Oh, I must have missed that this week. Whatever. But you know what we call it? Peepers. You're right. We call it peepers. So what was any of it for? I have no idea.
Good year for doctors to be on TV. Sanjay Gupta, oh my God, they put that guy to work. Especially early on in the pandemic, he'd be on CNN like, hi everyone, I'm Sanjay Gupta, I'm a neurosurgeon. And today I'm going to teach you how to sanitize a Nutri-Grain bar. I repeat, I'm a neurosurgeon. I do brain surgery. I could be doing brain surgery right now. In fact, someone isn't getting brain surgery because I'm standing here with a tub of Clorox wipes about to teach you how to do something you don't actually need to do. But more on that in 8 months. Had to learn how to cook during the pandemic, went on TikTok for recipes. Every recipe on TikTok is speed-oriented. Like, do you want to make a 25-second breakfast? Start the clock. I started to embrace the idea of cooking, but then there's always that ingredient deal breaker. I'd be watching the chef on the screen, and I'm like, oh, come on, man. You think I have rice vinegar? You know I don't have rice vinegar. Look at me, you know I don't have it. 3 people in the world have rice vinegar. You and your 2 roommates. Realized how lazy I was about cooking. I'd read the directions on a microwave burrito. I'd be like, heat on high for 1 minute, then flip over. I didn't go to Le Cordon Bleu Culinary Academy. I'm gonna see if I can slam this out in 1 step. No basting. Glad we're eating out again. I've had some great exchanges with waiters and waitresses over the years. There's an actual exchange I had with a waiter at an Italian restaurant in New York City not too long ago. Hi, is it possible to get a decaf espresso? You're the worst. Okay. I don't mean to be all lawyerly, but that was a yes or no question. But if you want to go with you're the worst, that works fine. Anyway, give me a decaf espresso with a big spoon of ketchup in it. Now I'm really bad. I was in a diner in Oklahoma. I ordered a salad, and she goes, what kind of dressing? I said, Italian. She leaned in and whispered something to me, but I didn't understand her. I go, what's that? She goes like, it's not good. What's not good? The Italian dressing. It's not good. It's not good. What's not good about it? It's not that tangy. Maybe you and I have different standards for tangy. Which dressing should I get? I'd go with Thousand Island. I don't like Thousand Island. I'll have the Italian. Are you sure it's not good? What part of it's not good, don't you understand? We'll end that one right there.
Yeah, I moved to Minnesota last year in the month of January. And that's how you die. 8-month winters are brutal. God. When I hit my 1-year mark of living there, some of my friends were like, oh, how did you celebrate? I was like, oh, I just walked into my bathroom like it was a prison cell and etched 1 tally. I did learn a lot by moving there then. I learned that, God forbid you try using a bidet there in the winter. That water feels like local anesthesia. Did not feel my beehole for 5 months. It's such a weird state. Right when I moved there, I turned on the TV and there were commercials for vacations to Alaska. And that's when I knew I fucked up. I was like, oh, these are broken people. If Alaska is their Cancun. Living in Minnesota and going on vacation to Alaska is like owning a Nissan Sentra and going on vacation and renting a Nissan Sentra. That's the same terrible. Minnesota was a tough sell, though. I found out also when I got there that they have some of the highest state taxes. I was like, for why? You're cold and expensive? That's like a dog who's ugly and bites. Put it down. Let's get out of here. Skedaddle. And I moved there from Washington where there are no state taxes. So now anytime my boyfriend tries to start a fight with me, I'm like, oh, let me remind you that being your girlfriend now costs me $38 a day. Let me set the thermostat to 72. Off. Let's pick our battles today.
There's also people out there that review cat food. Here's the kicker. In character as their cat. Like, if you look it up, you can look it up when you get home, like Fancy Feast website. There's like reviews, and they're like, every morning I go over to my bowl and I'm so excited to eat my Fancy Feast. It's and I assume they're writing it in character as their cat. Otherwise, Fluffy is a weird woman.
My friend with fake anxiety, I'm going to tell you how I know it's fake. I know, we're back and forth again. Remember, 12th night in a calendar year. My friend with fake anxiety, he uses 3 words that no one with real anxiety would ever use. He talked to me one day and he goes, hey, sorry about your party, but my anxiety got the best of me and I was just being an all night long. There they are, all night long. Someone with real anxiety doesn't do anything all night long, especially if it's bothering other people. I have friends with real anxiety. They could put the spoon in the bean dip incorrectly and just be like, oh, I made another mark in the bean dip. It was supposed to go in this mark and I made this mark. I don't like it here. And they leave. They just leave. And then they'll call me 3 days later, and my friends call it an episode when they have them, right? They're like, hey, sorry about that episode. Thanks for still being my friend. It's like, of course I'm still your friend. It's bean dip, for Christ's sake. Not only that, if I'm ever in an emergency, you're one of the only people I want around, because I bet you've been worrying about that since the 3rd grade. Probably have a 3-ring binder with a ton of ways to get out of it. I look at my friends with anxiety kind of like superheroes, man, because it's weird. If I was on a plane that was crashing, I would look for someone with anxiety to calm me down. And I know that doesn't make sense, but let's go to the chart. My resting worry is way down here. I don't worry about much. Someone with anxiety, their resting worry's up here. You put me in a plane crash, weep, I'm way up here. Someone with anxiety, still right down here. Want to know why? Because it's just a plane crash. It's just a standard, run-of-the-mill, hitting the ground and exploding plane crash, right? Their parents aren't on the flight telling them what they've done wrong since 6th grade. You're like, why are you so calm? Like, oh, when I thought about a plane crash, we didn't even crash into Earth. The Earth opened up and we landed in the middle and lava monsters ate our brains while we were still alive. And it's like, oh, yeah, this is way better, thank you. Also, 2 weeks ago, I called a stranger's service animal by the wrong name, and I haven't really slept. So I'm just kind of ready to get it over with.
Being married means I'm a team player now. Team player over here, team player. Thank you. So when my wife asked me to go on a ghost tour of a Revolutionary War fort, I said yes, even though that sounds like shit. Would I want to do that? Terrible idea. Yeah, put me next to scare me people. You know who I'm talking about. Life's not horrifying enough for you. You gotta go, why go to a haunted house when you live in a haunted world? But fine. I went. I was dreading it. And it ended up being, after my wedding night, the second best night of my entire life. Because the tour guide was what is the term? A Every time he mentioned something scary or supernatural, he immediately debunked it with a perfectly logical explanation as to what had really happened. So I meet the tour guide, we're there, it's very dark out, and this guy, he's got a three-cornered hat on, big ass bushy mustache. This guy's like 6'5", 370, he's a mountain of a man, sword on his hip. If walruses had a navy, he would be an admiral. He'd be a full bird admiral in the walrus navy. It's the craziest sentence I've ever said. So we get to the first stop on the tour, and the guy goes, all right, everybody, gather around. Now, if you gaze across this fort, what do you see? Nothing but green grass everywhere. However, if you look at this 1 2-foot by 4-foot rectangle, you don't see any grass at all. And as a matter of fact, grass stopped growing here, legend says, right after the final execution was carried out here in this very location. It's almost as if the grass is too haunted to grow here. Or perhaps no grass grows here because it is the lowest point of the fort. And whenever it rains, all the water congregates in this 1 2-foot by 4-foot rectangle, rendering it impervious to seed. Is it a ghost? Or is it science? Who's to say? And people are confused. This is not what they signed up for. I'm thrilled. This is what I signed up for. I didn't know it yet, but it was. So the tour continues, and we get to the next stop on the tour, and the guy goes, all right, everybody, gather around, congregate. Now, I need everybody here to be quiet. What is that sound you hear? What is that sound? Listen up, what's that sound? That's right, silence. Can't hear nothing. However, multiple times over the year, we have our guests stay overnight here at the fort. We do a little camp out. And multiple times at 4 o'clock in the morning, our guests have heard a loud shrieking noise break out throughout the fort. A sound reminiscent of Mrs. Fredrickson when she found out that her husband, Colonel Fredrickson, the master of the fort, was beheaded by a cannonball in battle. And she was so upset, she hurled her body off the parapets of the fort, screaming all the way down until her body crashed into the ground, and she died. They say that noise was her ghost. Or Perhaps that noise happens because we're in an area native to the northeastern red fox. And their mating season is late October, early November. Oh, I don't know, right around the time of this tour right now. And the female northeastern red fox's mating call is eerily similar to that of a bereaved woman. Is it a ghost? Is it a horny fox? Who's to say? And I have pissed my pants laughing. I'm with urine. People are furious. There was a lady on her phone looking up a refund for the tour that she was currently on. So we get to the final stop on the tour, and we go to what I believe was the old blacksmith shop. And this part was actually legitimately creepy. This part creeped me out. So we walk through this kind of a makeshift entrance, and there's like candle light, flickering on the walls. You hear the howling of the wind. It was sinister in there. And the tour guy goes, all right, everybody, circle up. Now, you might notice that we walk through a little makeshift entrance. That's because that main door, it's not stuck, but it would take many a strong man to open up that door. However, every once in a while when we're closing up for the night, we have multiple tour guides report that they see that door wide open. It's almost as if the ghost of the blacksmith, who literally cooked alive in this very location, swung that door open to get one more breath before he passes on to the other side. Perhaps it was his ghost that opened up that heavy door there, or perhaps that door's open because we're 1.5 miles away from the airport. And when those big old military planes take off, they create a sort of suction. A suction, I don't know, strong enough to open up that big old door over there? Who's to say? And this woman snaps. She goes, God damn it! Sir, how long have you been giving tours at this fort? 20 years. In your 2 decades giving tour at this fort, have you ever seen a ghost? Have you ever seen one ghost? My guy goes, Madam, I have noticed in my life that there is a direct correlation between one's level of education and whether or not they see ghosts. I have a PhD, so no, I've never seen a ghost.
This annoyed me. I was on the phone with somebody today trying to get a phone number from that person and write it down, but they didn't have phone number rhythm, and that pissed me off. Talking about phone number rhythm, especially if there's like an area code involved, like 212, bum bum ba, bum ba, bum ba. That is the rhythm I think we're all familiar with. This guy had no clue. I was like, okay, Hank, give me the number. He's like, all right, it's 2129. Fifteen, 8, 11, 6, 4, 2, 5, 7, 2. Did you throw in your zip code? Because I got a lot of extra numbers over here. I have extra. I can almost start a new number. What do you got? Start again from the top. They really screw you up on the last 4 numbers. That's where they get you. 555 6 41. Dude, I already wrote the 6. I made the dash too close. I can't shimmy the 1 in there now. Forget you. You know what else annoys me? People leaving slow-ass, boring messages on my machine. Unbelievable. Yeah, you come home late at night, you got to go to the bathroom, you're like, oh, look at this, I got a message. Oh, this could be important. I better check it out now. Boop. Hey. Kevin, how's it going, man? It's Tim Duffy from work. What's going on, man? Anyways, give me a call back if you get a chance. I will be, well, you know what? If you call at 9:15, I should be back. Actually, anything after 9:18, I'll be home. Give me a call. I'm at 631-775. This is great. Now I got to play the whole Tim Duffy message again. From the top to try to get the number at 100 miles an hour. That's fun when you're hunched over your machine with like an index card and a little pen. I got nothing on that pass. I got absolutely nothing. I got nothing. I got a 6, 4 blanks, a 4, and then I'm out. I'm out again. I don't know what to do. I got a freaking G. I got a G. Timmy gave me a G. So many things like that annoy me. This annoyed me too, because little things will make me happy as well. You know, like I was going through, I think it was like a Taco Bell. It was late at night, and I'm going through the drive-thru, and the guy was like, okay, 712, pull around. And I got excited because I had exact change. Something like that'll make me happy. But then I went to hand it to him, and I dropped a dime between the seats. I was like, mother! Now I gotta do this move for 20 minutes? Oh, man. Oh, come on, man. Oh, come on. Oh, I can see the freaking ridges. I can see them. So you're gonna have to pull up. I'm gonna have to tell you to shut up, Anthony.
I try to make myself feel better by telling myself it's not a Southern accent thing, it's an American accent thing. Like the idea that any thick regional American accent can sound kind of dumb, not just this one, you know? Like if you go to the doctor to get some test results back, yeah, you don't want this accent from the doctor. I know, you don't, right? You don't. But you also don't want some meatball from the Bronx, you know, like, listen, it is what it is, you got stage 4 cancer, what are you gonna do? No, what are you gonna do? I'll tell you what you're gonna do. You're gonna take your chemo, you're gonna take your radiation, you're gonna kick cancers. Actually, I do want a Bronx doctor. I take that back. That sounds pretty inspiring, actually. But like if you're on a plane in the Midwest and the pilot comes on like, okay, got a little snow system up here, just gonna scooch right by there, don't you know? No whoopsie-daisies today, no sir, gonna be a hoot.
We were at a restaurant. We were at a vegetarian restaurant. Lot of people. I didn't know all of them. And I did. We're there, the group, and I made the mistake of casually mentioning I was not vegetarian. And this one dude, most people are cool. One dude, what? You'll eat a steak? Yeah. Oh, but you don't want to watch them murder the cow. Nailed it. I love my brother. I don't want to watch my parents. You don't have to drag everything back to the point where it's awful. Everything is awful eventually. So I know a couple from back home, back east. The husband did not get vaccinated. The wife did get vaccinated. The husband got COVID. The wife did not get COVID. Do you know why? Because the husband was standing in front of the wife when the wind blew the COVID at them. You can be wrong. It's okay. When did that become illegal? You can make a mistake. You don't lose time off of your life. I was at a yard sale, not to brag. Yeah, I'm a big shot. I go to yard sales. No, we're at a yard sale, and there was this stack of old People magazines. People magazines that were old, not Old People magazine. Not like Matlock Watcher, Denture Enthusiast, and my favorite, Extremely Legal. And there was a People magazine from 1986, and the cover story was, "The Most Respected Man in America, Reader's Poll." You know who it was? Bill Cosby. Reagan came in second. True. We made a mistake. We didn't know. He was the most respected man in America. And then he went to prison. And then they let him out. I think they were afraid he was going to commit suicidalisms. I went to high school in the 1980s. Every guy in my graduating class had a mullet. Seemed like a good idea at the time. You look in my yearbook now, it looks like I went to high school with a lesbian separatist militia. One day we'll be like that about vaping. Seemed like a good idea. The great taste of steam. And the ultimate example of we didn't know. Michael Jackson. We didn't know. And he didn't give us any signs. Who would have thought that a glow-in-the-dark skeleton who dressed like Napoleon and lived by himself in an abandoned amusement park with other people's children and a feral chimp would have such a creepy dark side?
You guys are really putting me in a good mood. I got some bad news today. I found out my favorite Italian restaurant is closing, Chuck E. Cheese. And guys, Charles Edward Cheese has decided to close his doors. I like the Chuck E. Cheese business model. They opened up, they're like, look, we have rats. Now, we could call an exterminator, but that's gonna cost a lot. What do you say we just lean into this thing? Let's get a rat, let's make him our spokesperson. Get him on stage, get him in a band, get him cranking out some hits. Charles Edward Cheese. That's his Christian name, Charles Edward Cheese. Somebody actually wrote me an email that said, it's Charles Entertainment Cheese. That's what the E stands for. I'm just letting you know. I'm like, wow, you have a lot of time on your hands, man. You're correcting for the love of Charles Edward Cheese. It's funny when you argue with somebody, I'm like, no, it's Edward. Edward is this crazy. He's like, no, it's Charles Entertainment, look it up. And I go, I did. And it's Edward. Just sing. Had a roommate for years and years, and I loved him, but he's on drugs. And we're hanging out one night, and he goes, do you like the Grateful Dead? I go, no. He goes, well, have you ever seen them live? I go, why would I see them live if I don't like any of their songs? He's like, you gotta see them live, dude, you gotta see them live. I'm like, why? Because you get trashed and you go see them live? I would rather drop acid and go to Chuck E. Cheese. Have you ever seen that band live? You haven't lived till you see a rat rip a guitar solo, okay? I'm talking Charles Edward Cheese. I'm Italian American and I live in New York, and one of my passions, stand-up comedy's my job, but one of my passions before the dark times was to go from city to city around this great country and tell people in these different cities that they have terrible pizza. It's awesome, guys. And it weirdly hurts people's feelings. And I can work it into any conversation. I was in Baltimore, I'm coming down an elevator, I'm talking to this woman, she goes, oh, you live in New York City? How did you enjoy our aquarium? I'm like, lady, I don't know anything about your aquarium, but your pizza is terrible. She goes, what's wrong with it? And that gives you a pathway to insult their entire town. I'm like, first of all, miss, in order to have good pizza, you need good water. You guys don't have it. And maybe you're using all of your good water in your aquarium, but you're not using it in your pizza, because it sucks. Your toppings are bad. Do you have any Italians in this town who could make a pizza? Anyone who could read a recipe? Do you have anyone in this town who could read? Do you guys have schools? It's a new thing sweeping the country called schools. Then I'll compare the town negatively to another town close by. I'll go, look, I was just in Cleveland. That's not great pizza, but it's not this dog crap. It's pretty fun, guys. You guys are a great crowd because you're getting my jokes, you know? A lot of people don't get my jokes. Not a lot, some. You know, some crowds don't get it. And if there's a joke in everyday life, I'll make it. You know who does not appreciate my unique sense of humor? Chinese customs. Because I went to China before the dark times. And they were like, why are you coming to China? And I was like, to feel tall? No, I ended up in a work camp for quite some time. I dropped my phone in the toilet in China, and that's actually the best place to drop your phone in the toilet, you know, because of all the rice. But I wouldn't put it in white rice, I put it in brown rice because of my commitment to diversity. Diversity, guys, that's the name of the game in show business now. My manager calls me up. He's like, Mike, is there anything in your background that could give us some much needed diversity? I go, well, I'm 100% Italian. Does that help? He goes, actually, that hurts us a lot. So if you could not mention that again, that would be a big help. Then he's like, what about what's going on inside of you? Is there any diversity there? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, with your feelings. Like, sometimes do you feel like a woman that is trapped inside of a man's body? Because that's a story we could tell. I'm like, no, that's not really happening. But I was born C-section. So I was a man who was trapped inside of a woman's body. I don't know if that counts. I don't know if that makes... Am I a hero? Am I a hero? Anyway, I got my phone working in China again. And my Chinese tour guide was like, Mike, how are you enjoying China? I'm like, it's pretty good, but your pizza is terrible. And I was like, you know who has a pretty good slice? Korea. It's not great, but it's not this dog crap. Fine, guys, what's my immigration policy? Is that what you want to know? 90-day fiance. I say, if you want to come to this country, that's fine, but you have to marry one of our worst people. Have you seen that show? I would rather go back to El Salvador and fight MS-13 than to marry Darcy from Connecticut. I'm pro-immigrant. I came from immigrants, you know? But I notice in New York, the immigrants from the small countries, Eastern Bloc, Central America, they yell into their phones. They're always yelling. Yelling is toxic and problematic. I don't know if you guys know that or not. It's no longer ethnic. But they're yelling into their phones, and I can't help but think, that's probably why you were asked to leave your country. Country is so small, and you're yelling. The cops were probably like, you need to go to a bigger land, more suited to your voice inflection. But I think we're good people in this country. I think it's a lot of good people, you know? It's, I think the problem, the big divide in this country, is that we're all looking at the same thing from different perspectives. It's perspective. For example, I'm a huge boxing fan. I love all kinds of boxing. And I was watching this one fight. It was a female fighter, and her brother was the promoter. And they were interviewing her, and they're like, how did you start fighting? And it's a tragic story. She goes, when I was young, I watched my father hit my mother. I was too weak to do anything about it, so I learned to fight, and it never happened again. I'm like, wow, that's pretty powerful. Then I thought, but the brother, the promoter, grew up in the same home. So he must have saw the same thing and thought to himself, I can sell tickets to this.
And so I go into the doctor, and I'm at that age now where the doctor puts his finger in my ass, which is weird because it was a dentist. And no, it's weird because, you know, I'm fine with it. Like, I don't have a problem with the doctor doing that. But they always feel like they got to make a joke first before they, like, to lighten the mood. They're going to give me a little humor. Here's the thing. I'm a comedian. Don't tell me a joke. Okay? You don't tell me a joke, and then afterwards, I won't stuff my finger up your ass. How about that? So sure enough, the guy goes, all right, turn around. I got the gown on. It opens in the back. He goes, lean on the table, spread your legs. You know, pretend like you're getting arrested. I'm like, ha, ha, ha. I turn around. He's wearing a full policeman's uniform. I'm like... So now he puts on a glove. He opens up a bottle of KY jelly, dunks his finger, pulls up a big dripping glop of KY. I'm just looking at the guy like, dude, how tight do you think my is at this point? You could pretty much... That would have gotten you in. So he sticks it in, which I was ready for. But what I wasn't prepared for was this move. He goes like this. And the worst thing was, it felt amazing. And then I was sad for like 2 days. I was sullen. Any doctors here tonight? Clap if you're a doctor. Right over here in the corner. What type of doctor are you?
I'm a psychologist.
You're a psychologist.
Yeah.
Do we have any doctors here tonight? Are there any actual doctors in the house? Like a doctor. No, I'm kidding. That's not fair. That's not fair. I'm sure you've probably helped a lot of people, and that's great. Because here's the thing about being a doctor, and again, no slight on you, but there's different types of doctors. There's different levels of being a doctor, and you can't just be whatever kind of doctor you feel like being. You have to go to medical school, study really hard, and then depending on your grades, you're qualified to be certain types. Like, you don't just graduate and go, I think I'm going to work on brains. And then they look at your report card and they're like, no, we got you down for feet. We're going to do feet, toenails, that. And then if you score lower than that, they're like, yeah, we can't have you working on grown-ups. You got to be a pediatrician for now. Till you get better. And you got to think, when you're on one knee all day with a flashlight in your teeth, pulling people's ass cheeks apart, you got to stop and go, I drank too much senior year. I should have focused. Because now I'm an asshole doctor. But whenever I fly, I always think about the pilot. I always kind of feel bad for pilots because they seem compromised. You know, like my dream was to be a comedian ever since I was a little kid. And I pictured pilots are also the same. Like I'm picturing this pilot, you know, he was a little boy with a tiny plane and he was like, and then he got older and maybe he got a video game where he pretended to be a pilot. And then he got, again, I keep saying he, it easily could have been a female pilot. It just seemed like we were going pretty straight. You know, it seemed like there were no planes behind us honking, so I just assumed, maybe wrongly. And then he finally gets into aviation school and he does his 5,000 hours of training and he gets his wings and now he's floating up above the clouds, heading into the wild blue yonder, followed his dream. And then he's got to stop down to be like, attention passengers, the flight attendant will be coming through the aisle now with the JetBlue Super Saver Mile High visa. Fill it out today, and if you spend $20,000 in the next 4 days, we'll give you a free 1,000 miles. Spend $1 million in the next hour and a half, we'll give you a companion seat. What the f*** happened in my life? That's it, I'm done. I'm putting this down on the side of that hill. Don't forget, with the credit card, there's a bereavement benefit for a loved one should you die in a fiery death.
Sure. I was raised Jewish in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, or so I thought. Then I moved to New York. Maybe I was raised Protestant because... Yeah, everyone here is more Jewish than I am. Everybody. My Puerto Rican neighbor knows more about Judaism than I do. Yeah, he'll come up to me and be like, Shabbat Shalom, Ophira, and I'm like, okay, thank you. Because I have nothing more to say on this one. And I'm not from a stereotypical Jewish family in the sense that we were not rich Jews. I didn't even get the good end of the stereotype. Not rich Jews. We were very working class Jews. You know, we mowed our own lawns. We painted our own houses. We fixed our own cars. There's Sephardic Jews. There's Ashkenazi Jews. I'm from a very small sect called the DIY Jews. We are the DIY Jews. We are the Jews behind the Jews, really. Yeah. We're the heaps for hire. That's who we are, the heaps for hire. I will say this last year, too, I have looked at my phone way too much. I mean, your phone now tells you that. But I have looked at my phone way too much, and I get sucked into social media like nobody's business. I mean, Instagram, everyone's having more fun than I am. Twitter, everyone's saying funnier things than I am, but I've reached a new low because now I am scrolling through Venmo. Feeling bad about myself based on other people's banking transactions. That's Venmo FOMO. That is the lowest form of FOMO. But let me tell you something, the vaguer the description of what it is for, the more you feel left out. Because I'm just scrolling and then it's like Sarah paid Michelle and just wrote, shenanigans. I'm like, I know Sarah and Michelle. Where was I? You know? What are shenanigans? I don't even know. They sound amazing. Like, I've been part of a shebang and I like cardigans, but I don't know what's a shenanigan. Sounds expensive. Sounds like dangerous mischief. I don't understand why that page is there. It serves no purpose. It's just for bragging. I have never looked at an ATM machine and thought, this needs a social aspect. You know, it really does. I need to know if anyone recently has given Michaela $40 for 2 tacos and a rainbow. You know, I need to know. So now I live in Brooklyn, and yeah, I like it. Yeah, I know lots of Brooklyn people. So neighborhood's great. However, 3 months ago there was a shooting on our street. Nobody got hurt, but here's what happened. Someone came by in the middle of the night and shot 3 shots in 3 consecutive doorways. Boom, boom, boom. And just to give you an idea of the street, if they would have kept going, the next doorway would be a yoga studio. All right? So the yoga ladies went insane. They were like, this place has bad vibes! They were mad. And then the real estate agents were like, how are we gonna sell these apartments for millions of dollars now? And then the families were like, is this a safe place for our children? And everyone wanted to know what the shooter looked like. That's all they cared about. They were like, what does the shooter look like? What do we know about this guy? Was he black? Was he white? Hispanic? What do we know about this guy? What does he look like? And then news came back that the shooter was a woman. Yeah. And the conversation totally changed. Oh yeah. Everyone was like, oh, did she get him? I mean, clearly he had it coming, but did she get him? The yoga ladies were on board. They were like, we will finish the job, just whipping around their mats. The real estate agents were using it as marketing. They're like, the kind of street where a woman's in charge. Even the families were like, you can stand up for yourself like that woman did. She was a hero. And the only thing they cared about how the woman shooter looked was if she looked satisfied. And then gossip in the neighborhood circulated again, and news came back that the woman shooter was a hired gun. She was hired to do the job. I know! That has got to be something that you get paid for over Venmo, right? That would be a shenanigan. I'm just saying. That would be a shenanigan.
But I don't judge my life based on material possessions, mainly because I don't really have access to them. I judge my life based on achievements and milestones. Like, I don't mean to brag, but a little while ago, I hit the big time. I married an American, which is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, according to Americans. They are so excited for me. Like, wow, you married an American. Your parents must be so proud. I'm like, they're a little concerned. They're worried about me. No, you could be an American now. Don't you want to be an American? Pew, pew, pew. I'm like, calm down. Okay, I don't have the confidence to be an American. I'm not qualified. Americans are confident people. Like, I was in America and I wanted to go to some fine dining restaurant, so I turned up at Pizza Hut. And a guy was coming outside and he held the door open for me. He said, after you, big dog. I'm 5'7". I've never been called big dog in my life. I'm like, me? He's like, yeah, come on through, big dog. I'm like, stop it. No, it's not me. I'm a little dog. Stop it. Get out of here. I'm not even a big, I don't even have a tail. Stop it. He's like, come on through, and he gave me a fist bump. And that confidence was contagious. All of a sudden, I felt that American confidence, and I felt 6 foot tall. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I am a big dog. I felt so confident. I walked into that Pizza Hut. I bought a family meal. That's how excited I was. My father-in-law was so pumped for me when I married his daughter. As a wedding gift, he bought me a Costco membership. That's a dowry in the state of Kentucky. It's like, that's a Costco membership. You can go to any Costco around the world. I'm like, why would I go to Costco when I'm overseas? You can get the best bagels in Costco. You gotta buy 3,000, but they're the best bagels. You can get the best red wine from Italy in Costco. It's from a region in Italy called Kirkland, Italy. Best Italian wines. You can get a coffin in Costco. When I die, I want you to put me in that coffin, leave me in Costco, because that's my idea of heaven, amen. I'm like, mate, wait till you discover Aldi. You're gonna have a great time. No membership needed. I've tried to live in America. It's hard to get onto the American system, right? They're very protective of their system. I went to get a phone number, asked for a SIM card, and they said, Sir, you can't get an American phone number until you have an American bank account. I'm like, no worries. So I went to the most American bank possible. I went to Bank of America. And they said, sir, you can't get an American bank account until you have a social security number first. I'm like, no worries. Went to the social security office. They're like, sir, you can't get a social security number until you have an American phone number. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna kill everyone. So I went to Walmart, bought a gun, no documents needed. Very easy. Americans also don't expect me when they hear Australian man. They think like alpha man, right? They think like Hugh Jackman and Chris Hemsworth and the dad from Bluey. Just proper alpha dogs. Now, I don't want to shock anyone, but I am not an alpha male. Don't argue. I'm not an alpha male, but I know how to find one. If you ever need an alpha male for any reason, it's very easy. All you have to do is find like an extension lead or a cable or a cord. And all you have to do is start to try to coil it. And what will happen is an alpha male will appear out of nowhere and tell you you're doing it wrong. That's not how you bloody coil it, mate. You gotta let the cable do the work. You follow that. If you really want to piss them off, you start doing it around your elbow. They'll have a conniption like, that's not how you bloody do it, mate. You're gonna wreck the cable. And they turn into a car.
I will say this, politically speaking, I will say this. I think that the last 8 years in this country has really ruined the whole "the president's been kidnapped" genre of action movie. I will say that it has deflated my enthusiasm. Man, that was a fun movie 10 years ago. That was fun. Oh, you'd go right to the cinema on Friday. The president's been kidnapped. Oh no, who's gonna save him? Channing Tatum? I hope his shirt doesn't come off. We were excited for those. You can't make that movie now. That movie does not have the steam it once held. The president's been kidnapped. Well, yeah, I mean, it's not good out there. People aren't happy, man. Inflation's out of control. Well, what are the kidnappers asking for? Healthcare? Yeah. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'll watch it, but I'm not rooting for who you want me to root for. Oh, they saved him? Okay, that's cool. Why my premium's still through the roof? I'm not going to the sequel, I'll tell you that. That's like I like all those action movies. I like the president's been kidnapped movies. I like all the action movies are my escape. The world's filled with drama and turmoil and heartbreak. I don't need to go to the movies for that. I can just look outside and be like, "Ow, it's bad." And so I like action movies because of the escapism. The dumber, the better. That's how it's plot holes, explosions that don't make sense. Give it to me. Why are you in space? Nobody asked. All right, fine. My favorite action movies of a current day and age that we're in are the Fast and the Furious movies. Those are my favorite ones. Arguably, oh, sure. But even cheering, we know they're the dumbest ones out there. They're dumb, they know they're dumb, and we know they're dumb. And we're still like, give them to me. How dumb are the last one was called Fast X for Fast 10. There's 12 of them. They're like, it's Fast 10. Like, aren't there 12? They're like, shut up, dummy. I'm like, yeah, okay, fine, it's fine. They're the guys that die in one just show back up. They don't even say why. They're just like, hey. They're like, oh, I thought you. Yeah. Like, and then they're formulaic. They're elaborate, but they're truly formulaic. Like, right, I'm going to describe one of the Fast and Furii to you right now, and pretty sure that's how you pluralize it. So, and if you don't know the franchise, you will not know if I'm just making this up, just pulling it out of my ass. You will have no idea. And if you do know the franchise, you still will not be sure. Because they just blend into one long Camaro explosion. But say we'll choose anyone from like in the middle. So let's say like 3 to 8. Let's say anywhere in there. You never know what it's going to be. They've already done their first heist. They've established themselves. They've got their millions. You know, this rapscallion crew of Honda Civic jockeys. They've made a few bucks and now they're in different parts of the world, just enjoying their life. We really did it. Nothing can go wrong now. And that's when just a representative from the U.S. government comes in like, we need this crack team of DVD player thieves. When that was relevant, we're the USA, strongest military in the world. Never mind about the Navy SEALs, but we're the strongest military in the world. That's part of the training now. We let puppies lick their toes, and if they crack, they're out. But right now, outside of the best, strongest, big military in the world, none of them know how to drive manual. So we really need you guys. We need you, bunch of Corona-sipping degenerates, to help us out. What had happened? It's just a group of international terrorists. It's international now. They can't be from a country because that's problematic. But it's still terrorism, but it's very diverse. Who are these terrorists? I don't know. That guy's Cuban. I think he's gay. Whatever. They're all over the place. They're all over the place now. They've stolen the nuclear codes. It's always the codes. It's never the bots, the codes. Apparently somebody's just writing them down in a notebook and just leaving them in a backpack at Starbucks. They always get the codes. It's just somebody like, all right, I got my keys, I got my wallet, chapstick. Oh, my JanSport full of nuclear codes. I can't believe I left it on the bus. So, the terrorists have stolen nuclear codes. They've hidden them in a Lamborghini. That's right, hide something. They've hidden them in a Lamborghini. Tastefully colored, no, it's orange, bright orange Lamborghini. And they've stashed it on top of the bad guy's skyscraper. That's where I'd put it. You can't put it in the garage, it'll get scratched. So, there's a bright orange Lamborghini full of nuclear codes on top of a heavily protected skyscraper in a country that we will not name because this movie needs to make money everywhere. So, what did I tell you? You know, you gotta feel. So that's on you guys now to help us because our military can't do it. And they're like, all right, assemble. All right, who, well, let's first, who do we have in our team that might have like a connection? A guy who knows a guy who knows a guy who might have like just a special Lamborghini lifting helicopter. And then just out of the shadows comes former hip hop star Ludacris. Oh, sure. Of course. Can you imagine it being someone else other than Ludacris? I am convinced Ludacris does not know he's in these movies. I think Ludacris, he shows up wearing the clothes he was gonna wear anyway. And they just convince him to say a few key phrases. What? Lamborghini lived in a helicopter. Got it. That's it. And they call him Ludacris half the time. I'm pretty sure. I don't know his character names like Dave or Lugnut. I don't know. But they're like, all right, so Luda. Oh, should we cut? Because I called him like, nope, we already blew the budget on special effects. Just keep going. But somehow they get Ludacris to say, yeah, I got a guy. And they're like, all right, cool. And so that's it. We're like, oh, we're like only 20 minutes in the movie, short and sweet. They cracked the case, you know? So special Lamborghini lifting helicopters coming over the horizon, you know, just approaching. And it's a unique looking helicopter. And bad guy skyscraper's over here, but it's a skyscraper. They got a vantage point with elevation. They're like, that looks like a particular kind of helicopter. Maybe one specifically designed for picking up Lamborghinis full of nuclear codes. And then the bad guys are like, well, should we double check? Like, where are the bad guys? And they just shoot it down. They just shoot it down right there. And you're 25 minutes into the movie, like, well, oh no, what are we gonna do? That was the plan. And so now we gotta go back to the clubhouse where everybody's hanging out. And we're like, all right, well, that plan, that was our one shot. So now we got to go the real unorthodox, maybe something like with math and science and engineering. Do we have somebody in our group with like that kind of brain, that analytical thinking that could like figure out some way with engineering to get the car out there? Oh, yeah, former model Tyrese, of course. Of course, when I think of engineering mastermind, I think of Tyrese. Tyrese, I believe, is reading the script just below the camera at all times. Oh, what's up? You all need help getting a lamb giant? That says Lamgina, man. That's how it's spelled. Oh. Y'all need to get a Lamborghini off a building. And then they just cut to a whiteboard with a lot of shapes and numbers on it. And he just goes, there. You know, like that's... They just had some intern run in, just make geometric shapes and put some math on there. And that's when Tyree's like, well, if you drive it fast enough off the edge of the building and you could just fly it away on account of a Lamborghini has the doors that do this. It's got doors like this. Well, if you get enough speed, it could actually travel non-traditionally. That sounds like Back to the Future. Shut up, man. And so if you got enough speed... All right, so that's the plan. We'll fly the Lamborghini. To where? Okay, well, I guess we could just like get a short-term lease on a good guy skyscraper across the street. We'll just roll in with some cash, talk to the landlord. According to Tyrese's calculations, we really only need floors 8 through 13. We really only need those. Given the trajectory of his math, that's where the Lamborghini should crash into. So we'll get a short-term lease there. Absolutely, short-term lease. All right, but now we have to execute this plan. Who do we have amongst our crew that is brave enough, that is strong enough, that is bald and dumb enough to... We all know who it is. My man Vincent Diesel. That's who's coming in there. Vincent Diesel. My man Dominic Toretto. I just go by Vincent these days. He hears him talking about, he scoots out from underneath some hot rod that's blowing up in every movie. Every movie, that car just explodes at the end, and the next one starts with him like, Apparently all you need is like a 5/8 wrench to be like, back in action. He scoots out with a totally clean tank top and just stands up like, I'll do it. He's only got 5 lines. And he rolls in there. He gets to bad guy skyscraper. He just starts at the bottom, just indiscriminately, just kills, shoots this guy. Gets to 1 floor, like, where's the call center? What's happening? No witnesses. Shoots him. Gets him to what? We're just United Airlines customer service. What's going on? Double tap. I gotta fly them tomorrow. He just kills everybody in the skyscraper and gets up to the roof where the Lamborghini full of nuclear codes. And he gets in. And there's always a minute where he's just like is horny for the car. Where he's like, you know. Why? He fires it up, backs up, shoots it towards the edge of the building. Boom! It goes. He pops the doors. That's it. They're the wings. It's flying. Of course it's flying. We've all agreed that this is real. I'm on my third bag of popcorn just going, of course it worked. Tyrese knows math. I'm absolutely with him on this, 100%. But then there's one terrorist he didn't get yet. There's one guy, and he's just barely hanging on, but he's dedicated to being a terrorist. And he's like, he pulls his AK-47 over by him, and he says something hack, because they didn't pay the writers well enough. So this guy's just like, not on my watch, or some like something dumb. And he's got one bullet left, and he fires it off. But it doesn't hit Vincent, and it doesn't hit like the undercarriage. It just hits the window in the door, which that's where the lift exists for the Lamborghini to fly. Oh no, this whole plan unravels. Now Lamborghini's spiraling, and Vincent's like, what are we gonna do? And it's spiraling, it's not gonna go to the designated floors that they gotta rent on. It just smashes into the side, a good guy skyscraper. And Vincent thinks quick, he flips outside, he grabs a seatbelt, he's dangling off the side of the building. He's holding on like an office chair that's hooked on an I-beam that's hanging out of under construction office, and he's holding on to the Lamborghini by the seatbelt, just like, you gotta do this. And crucifix is just dangling, shining in the sunlight. And he looks at that, and that's when he's like, oh yeah, family! And he just, which is that's weird that's what that reminds him of, because the guy in that crucifix, his dad killed him. That's a weird thing to go with. But that's where he gets his strength, family, and and he flings the Lamborghini over his head. Into the office up there, and he drags himself up, and he's just got glass coming out of his bald head, and he's bleeding. He drags himself in there, and the rest of the crew, they all rush up to make sure he's okay, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe that was so close. And the main, the starlet, his wife, I don't even know, she shows up for the first 5 minutes of the movie and disappears, but then she's there at the end, like she was part of this crew the whole time, and she's like, oh, I can't believe, I'm so glad you're safe. Don't you do that ever again. But then she's like, but also the way you saved the world has got me all. Every time you just assert yourself this way, and he's just laying there bleeding like, all right. And that's the part of the movie where I'm like, I was with you the whole time. I was with you. From Ludacris just being called Ludacris, from Tyrese knowing science, I was on board with everything. Flying Lamborghini, instantly, of course. But there's no way he's up for this. And that, not then, no. I just want one action movie where that's the moment where it really hits the realism, where it's just like everything happened, there's explosions, death, blood, and I just want the main guy to just be like, what, are you around? Did you not see what I just, can I get like 20 minutes? Jesus Christ. I see. This is what horned you up? What's wrong? I just killed all those guys. And that, not to mention, I ran up the whole building, but those guys had families. I'm sad about that. You don't really. And also, I've been at my target heart rate all day with this plan. I think this is rebar that went through a kidney. My blood pressure's plummeting, but I mean, if you need it, we can give it a shot, but it won't be good. I hope you're into people watching, because we're gonna have to do it in the ambulance, because I am fighting off the tunnel vision right now of a blackout, and I need fluids, not sexy fluids, vital fluids. We can try, but I'd love 6 to 8 weeks for a full recovery, just to be honest with you there.
So I travel, I'm alone a lot. I go to different cities and I just kill time. I just walk. And so I'm walking down the street. I was just in Atlanta last week, walking down the street, lonely. And all of a sudden I look up in a store window and there's a woman and she looks into my eyes and she just starts waving. And I'm looking at her like, and I start waving back. And I'm walking towards her and she's waving and I'm waving and I get closer and I see that she has a rag in her hand and she's cleaning the window. And I was so depressed. I just went and I bought some ice cream and I wiped it all over that window.
I got married 2 years ago. But we didn't go on our honeymoon until last year. Yeah, we went to Italy. Yeah. Boy, they are Italian over there. You think you're prepared for it, because like it's Italy, and then you're sitting at a cafe in Rome and the server comes over and he's like, okay, so first of all, we know due spaghetti. And you're sitting there like, oh my God. The racist didn't go far enough this time. We were in Naples. We went to Naples, and in Naples, I saw 3 people riding one Vespa. 2 of them were smoking unfiltered cigarettes, and the third was holding an open bottle of red wine. It was a toddler. It was a toddler holding the wine. In Naples, they use toddlers as cup holders for wine. We went to the Vatican on our trip, which, as a Jew, does feel like a secret mission. I felt like if I made it all the way through without getting detected, I should get to kiss the Pope. And I was just like, mwah, you didn't find me. He'd probably be cool with it, right? This Pope, isn't it still like the cool Pope right now? Isn't it still? Yeah, the Pope was just like that's his energy. He's like, hey, call me Rick, how are ya? Yeah, like, he doesn't do the big hat, he does a little Catholic yarmulke, that's his energy, right? Kirkland signature robes, that's the Pope. You know who I feel bad for is the next Pope. Because he didn't sign up for all this humble stuff. Right? If he ever wants to go back to full Pope hat strength, he's gonna have to do it gradually, or people are gonna talk. He's gonna have to, every week, wear a slightly bigger hat. He's gonna be in meetings at the Vatican like, okay, so first order of business is, and one of the cardinals is gonna be like, Your Holiness, is that a bigger hat? No. It's a different hat. It was scary, Italy. A little bit. Because as you're going around the country, you're learning a little bit about its history. And I was reminded that not too long ago, Italy used to be a fascist country. In the 1930s and the 1940s, under Benito Mussolini, they were fascist. And that was crazy to me, because this is also the country that invented the ravioli. And it's just hard to hold those 2 ideas in your head at the same time. Although, I guess if you lived in a country where one person invented something as impactful as the ravioli, you might be more willing to believe that a man could be God. read some more and I realized something startling. Many of the countries that have given us the finest dumplings on the planet have, at one time or another, succumbed to fascism. Think about it. Russia, dumplings, fascism. Poland, dumplings, fascism. China, in my opinion, the finest dumplings on the planet, but also, occasionally, unfortunately, fascism. So I guess the question that we need to ask ourselves as Americans is, do Hot Pockets count? Because otherwise,
When he and I got together, we had that conversation about labels because I felt ready to be called boyfriend and girlfriend, and he goes, you know, being in my 40s, I feel like I'm a little old to be called somebody's boyfriend, but if you call me your man friend, it sounds like I'm not allowed in your playgrounds. I was like, all right, well, what are you gonna call me? And he goes, I'll just be like, this is my lady. And I was like, well, we're not at a Renaissance fair. So, no. Also, I can't use the equivalent of that. I can't be like, Mom, Dad, I'd like you to meet my lord. And he's also a comedian. My ex-husband was actually a comedian, too. I can't stop where I eat. No, I didn't tell you. My love life is a Chipotle. Just keep the eating and all under one roof. It's very convenient, very farm to table, you know. They're right there. And I wasn't much of a jealous girlfriend in my 20s, but then some switch flipped in my 30s. And now when I see somebody hit on the person I'm with, I just feel myself anamorph into the cast of Jersey Shore. I am ready to brawl. And he does get hit on. When he walks on stage, women whistle at him. And at comedy clubs, there's usually a security guard in the back to kick people out in case they heckle. So at his shows, I've just started to stand next to the security guard. And if I see a woman laughing too hard at one of his jokes, I just walk up and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. He's my favorite comedian. Well, he's my lord. Scoot, beat it. I feel like most people assume I'm exaggerating during that joke, but if you follow me online, you'll know I posted a video a few months ago of a woman who sat in the front row of one of my shows, and after I told that joke, she goes, your boyfriend is my favorite comedian. We've seen him like 8 times. And I was like, lady, did you not just hear that this is when I go snooky on somebody? What are you doing? And she doubled down. She's like, he's so cute. He's so hot. And he responds to my Instagram comments. And that's when I took out my hoop earrings. All the men in the crowd were looking around like, Jerry, Jerry, Jerry. It's like, yeah, time to fuck around and find out, madam. Get up here. I don't actually worry about my boyfriend cheating on me. I feel like men's bodies start to really turn on them in their 40s. He has to wake up every 2 hours in the night to pee. And when I see him in the morning with bags under his eyes, I hug him and I go, babe, I'm sorry you didn't sleep well. And then I think, you're too exhausted to cheat on me. You're not getting enough REM to pull off 2 relationships. I like you slow like this. Can catch you if I need to. Get back here. But now the second I see him start to reach for melatonin, I'm like, the f*** are you resting up for, huh? You stay sleepy. I don't usually mind our age gap, but there is that new filter on TikTok where couples are posting pictures together, and then a filter goes across the screen, and it shows you what you'll look like together in 50 years. Like it ages you. So I did that with a picture of me and my boyfriend, and when the filter went across the screen, it just made him disappear. It was just me holding an urn. I was like, what? No, please. And my boyfriend was like, I want to see the picture. I was like, oh, my phone died. And so did you. What am I going to do? He does hate that he looks older than me. He's been trying to get me to look older faster. I think he wants to, like, microwave my face. On my birthday, as a prank, he hid all of my expensive skin creams, and when I opened my bathroom cupboard, there was just a pack of cigarettes. Like a tanning bed coupon. Well, be careful what you wish for. You're gonna wake up next to Mick Jagger. I have been telling my single friends that they should date somebody older than them. It's the best. They got their lives together. They're financially secure. My boyfriend has a lake cabin. You think I give a shit that he has a fake hip? I don't.
I grew up in a shady neighborhood, you know, and I have a very overprotective Middle Eastern mom, right? Like, as an example, my mom still calls me all the time just to make sure I change the oil in my car. Because she thinks one day I'm gonna forget, and that will be my cause of death. I'm like, for real, mama? You think I'm gonna go out like a... I'm from Detroit, player! Put some respect on my death. She's like, don't ever call me player, please. But it's true, man. I grew up in a shady neighborhood. You know, like, as an example, neighborhood was so shady, my mom refused to let me and my brothers go trick-or-treating. But she did force my dad to go trick-or-treating for us. And that was not the same experience. No, straight up, my dad would drive me and my brothers, he'd go house to house, and he'd knock on the door, no costume. He's him. The people opening the door have been seeing children all day. And then they open the door to find some 60-year-old hairy, bald Iraqi man, no shirt, open trench coat, nipples hard. And there's this moment of awkwardness, and then my dad would just point to the van. And it's me and my brothers in full Spider-Man costumes. We're just nervously waving. Yeah, it looked like he kidnapped us, okay? Obviously, it's an awkward energy, so my dad would try to make it less awkward, but my dad has this really deep Middle Eastern villain voice. So my dad would be like, don't worry. They are mine. Trick and treat. By the way, they don't have Halloween in Iraq, I checked. I want to go, man. I really do. I just want to visit where my parents are from. I want to see it. Yeah, man, it's so important. So important. And I was telling my buddy I want to go there, and he goes, dude, now is a good time to go, because I was reading some article, and in it, it was saying that Iraq is on the come up. It was an Onion article. But, I just wish it was true, you know? Iraq is very unstable now. It is. As are a lot of Middle Eastern countries. Very unstable, man. And I don't want to talk about this too much. I don't want to put the blame on anybody, George Bush. just wish Iraq would thrive, man. I do. And I think it is possible, but we just need help from pop culture. Which is why I'm just saying they should make Baghdad the place for next year's Coachella. It's a hot spot. It's a great desert, plenty of parking. No evil militia would want to do anything during that weekend. They'd be like, let's see the type of people America is bringing. Oh, Bad Bunny is coming? Oh. Yeah, I mean, he is my favorite bunny. Oh, I love that he is bad. Like me. Titi me preguntó si tengo muchas novias. Bro, that would be fire. All y'all would go. Don't act like. Y'all wouldn't, man. I'd pull up, man. I think it'd be so cool, bro. I want to see Snoop Dogg do a collab with Saddam Hussein's hologram. Iraq just needs better press, man. Like, how could they never make it a vacation prize on The Price is Right? Give these contestants a trip they won't forget. By the way, I gotta say this, man. Rest in peace, Bob Barker, bro. One of the best TV hosts of all time. Rest in peace. Bob Barker, man. Yo, how come they never have Arabs on that show? Y'all notice that? I don't think it makes sense, though. They have some dude there. They're like, okay, Yusuf, this brand new Ford Focus, what's the price? Is the price I can get it for? Also, Mr. Kerry, I will never buy American piece of shit Ford. Never. It's garbage car. The transmission is slip. It's like a shit. Keeps this car for you. I don't speak Arabic, by the way. I can just do the accent well. Y'all gonna boo me on my special? You gonna boo me? Do you know how hard it is to speak a language you can't speak? It's hard! And I'm doing my best. I try to speak Arabic, man. I do, man. What I'll do is I'll say as much Arabic as I know, and for what I don't know, I'll just say it with an Arabic accent. Like I'll be like, Habibi, Andi Su'al. Indek hand sanitizer? Hade dirty. They're like, what is this autistic man asking us? I wish I did, man. I went to Egypt for the first time recently. My buddy was getting married. I was so excited to go. I was like, I can't wait to speak Arabic to some of the local people, you know, flex the little that I know. I want to immerse myself in the Middle Eastern culture, right? I get to this supermarket. I see this Arab dude behind the counter. I needed to buy some milk, and I know how to ask for that. So I see this guy, and I'm like, Habibi, ahlan wa sahlan, assalamu alaikum, rahmatullah wa barakatuhu. That means hello. Habibi, Andi Su'al, Indek Halib? And he was like, yes, we have milk. Can he feel my white energy? He just knew I was soft. He's like, oh, you're from America. I'm from Cairo, Blair. What do you want? Oat milk? As a matter of fact. Straight up, that was the most my name is Paul I've ever felt. Which is true, my name is Paul. Where my Pauls at? That was a woman. I'm grateful for my name. Our name. My mom named me after an apostle, which I appreciate, man. I love that, bro. I do. But I just wish I had a more, like, cultured name, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had a buddy of mine growing up, man. His name was Farouk. Yo, I Googled it. Farouk means one who could discern truth from falsehood. Paul feels like it means manager at AutoZone. Also, there's no P in Arabic, so my name is pronounced Bol. Which means urine. My name means urine. Bol means urine. My name means urine. But, hell yeah. Clap it up for urine. Hey, man, I'm just glad my parents didn't name me Skylar. What the f does that mean? One who can discern indica from sativa? One who buys weed with dad's money? All Skylars got money. Not me, man. I didn't grow up with a lot of money, which is frustrating when you're a kid, especially when it's your birthday. Like, I'll tell you this, man, like, I never got any cool gifts growing up. Like, I remember one year for my birthday, my mom just straight up gave me my brother's jacket. That was the gift. Theft. She shoplifted from her own family. I was pretty confused. But not as confused as my brother. Man. Yo, you ever see somebody confused and cold? I was upset, not gonna lie, y'all. Because I didn't want that, man. I wanted something different. You know, I didn't understand the circumstance that we were in, so I tried to reason with my dad. I was like, Dad, I don't know if you know this. Mom gave me Sam's jacket for my birthday. I'm not happy. I'm sad. And my dad was like, Habibi, you are not sad. You are ungrateful.
A really strange thing happens to you when you become a father, which is that you just sort of drift into the background of your family and you become wallpaper. There's 4 members of my family, and I'm in 4th place. Growing up, my dad would always say, I'm the LVP of our family. And I'd say, no, you're not. You're just a fucking drama queen. But now that I'm a dad, I so get it. I so get it. My wife's happiness, my boy's happiness, it genuinely matters more to me than my own. As a father, your job is to pay for everything and shut the f up about it. But it really dings your psyche to go from first place to last so quickly. It really messes with your head, and that's why all of our dads were so weird. Everyone in this room's dad was so weird. Growing up, my dad would get up every morning at 4 a.m. and take a bath. That's weird. That's really weird. But now that I'm a father, I've never understood anything so much in my entire life. I'm like, Dad, yes, get your bath time, dude. Because you know what never asked for a piece of bread with peanut butter on it, and then when you gave it to them, said that they didn't like peanut butter or bread? The sunrise never did that, and neither did that fucking bath. Here's my thing. Here's how I've changed. Now that I'm a father, I can't talk to waiters fast enough. I just want a dialogue with every waiter. I want to see and be seen by waiters. And I was never rude before, but it was perfunctory. I was just trying to get the food or whatever. But now, I just want to talk. That's how lonely I am. Like if I clean my plate, you know what I mean? Like I enjoyed the meal or whatever, and the waiter comes to retrieve it, I'm the guy now who's just like, guess I didn't like that at all. Like, what the happened to me? I used to be kind of cool. Here's my move. Here's my opening line with waiters. Here's what I do. I'll say, hey, what's good to eat here? Yeah, I put the ball on their court. Hey, what do you like to eat here? What a culinary trust fall that is. You know, it's a thrill ride. Because you have to eat whatever they suggest after asking them. What kind of maniac asks the waiter what's good to eat here and then summarily rejects whatever they say? Hey man, what's good to eat at this restaurant? What do you like? Oh my God, out of all the restaurants I've ever worked at, the chef does the best fish and chips I've ever had in my entire life. Oh really? I'll get the BLT, you idiot. We're landlocked, Kenny. What is the chef, a wizard with frozen cod? Out of here. But here's the thing, you don't even have to be at a sit-down restaurant to pull that move. You can pull it anywhere if you're lonely enough. The other day, I was at a Jimmy John's. I broke it out. At the kid working, I go, hey man, what's good at this Jimmy John's? Hey dude, what do you like at this Jimmy John's? He thought about it for a second. He was like, the chips. He couldn't think of a single sandwich he was willing to get behind. But he was all in on the chips, and everyone in this room knows he's right. Those chips are delicious. They're crunchy, they're not too greasy, there's a lot of them. One bag of Jimmy John's chips is almost enough to make you forget about that photo of the CEO shooting an elephant. Jimmy John's, where the secret ingredient is ivory. I'll do it again. Jimmy John's, where the secret ingredient is ivory. That's the teaser. That's the teaser. I could feel it. Chop it up. Send it to Netflix. They'll be like, no thanks. That desire to be seen and recognized as a father, I don't think it gets better with time. I think just the opposite. It only gets worse. Because I was recently at an ice cream shop with my son, and we walked in, and the only other customers in the shop were some grandparents who had a grandchild about my son's age, and the kid working the register. And they were in line in front of us, and the little boy in line in front of us had to go to the bathroom, and the grandmother took him to the bathroom, leaving the grandfather alone, and it was this dude's time to shine. And he looked to make sure that the door had shut. And we waited till it closed, and then he just leaned in and he goes, you know, I used to work at an ice cream shop too. Yeah, Rhode Island, 1969. And the girl looked at him like, I'm 15 and don't understand what's happening right now. And he goes, let me ask you something. My grandson, he's gonna spill all down the front of his shirt and make a goddamn mess. You guys got a bib back there I could put on him, maybe try to salvage the situation a little bit? She's like, bibs? No, we don't have bibs. I could give you 100 and possibly thin napkins. And he was like, don't have any bibs. Don't have any bibs. Okay, all right. How about this? Do you have one of the necklaces with the two clips on either end that you could clip around a to-go cup and I could sort of rig around his neck like a horse with a feeding bag type scenario? And me and the girl looked at each other like, what ice cream shop did you work at? That these were ever options at all. And then the grandma came out and he was like, oh, gotta go. And he like ran back to the shadow that he exists in. And I so wish that grandma had not emerged in that moment so I could have seen how batshit this was about to get.
He's like, you don't have the horse feeding bag thing either? Okay, all right. How about this? You got one of them mesh sacks you can put 5 to 7 to-go pints into and then string around your torso like a bandolier from the Spanish-American War? You don't have that either? Huh. All right, how about some sprinkles in the shape of various U.S. Navy ships? We'll just be on our way. No? Well, then just have the kid come out from the back, sing as Jeremiah was a bullfrog, and we'll go. I thought this was an ice cream shop. And that's when I realized there's no way this guy ever worked at an ice cream shop. He's just a weird old man who wants to talk to anybody. I could follow this dude around for days, and he would pull the same sad grift everywhere he went. I could see him the next day at a coffee shop. He just leans in. He's like, I used to work at a coffee shop too. Yeah, New Hampshire, 77. And back then, they didn't call us fancy baristas neither. We were the Cup of Joe boys, and we didn't take any shit. And let me ask you a question. You still do the promotion where if the customer rips off their shirt and you pour a scalding hot pot of coffee on their chest and they don't cry out in pain, it's free? Because I accept! I used to be an astronaut too. Yeah, International Space Station, 88. And let me tell you something, wasn't all kumbaya neither back then. If you saw a Ruski coming down the hallway, you ripped his helmet off and you shoved him out the exit hatch so his head would explode, because he'd do it to you if you had half the chance. January 6th. He's at the Capitol. I tried to overthrow the government once too. Yeah, Oregon, 91. And back then we weren't taking selfies at Nancy Pelosi's desk. We were writing manifestos and we were blowing up post offices. Now let's hang Mike Pence. You guys call your grandpas. If you're not talking to them, Fox News is, and it's getting pretty weird. It's getting pretty weird.
The only way I found out that we were not as wealthy as I thought was the first time I went over to a slightly richer family's house for Thanksgiving, and we all sat on the same kind of chair. I was blown away. I was like, you've got 11 of this one chair type? Are you secretly a duke of some sort? Like every holiday meal at my house would be like, Ivan, go get the computer chair for Grandma. I'm dragging it down the hall. I wanted the computer chair. My mom's yelling out of the kitchen, no chance. You are sharing the piano bench with your brother. And you know it. We didn't have a piano, by the way, it's just the bench. My uncle's at the end of the table sitting on a yoga ball. Got a hole in it nobody can find, so he's slowly sinking for the entire meal. And I was like, I don't think we're as rich as I thought. So this was a problem, of course, when it came to buying a diamond ring. I didn't know anything about it. I knew I had to go to a jewelry store. I knew that I was going to interact with a commission salesperson at that store, which I was nervous about because I'm uncomfortable around commission salespeople. I'm very easily bamboozled by their tricks. I'm sure you can all tell this from my general vibe. Anybody watching this that works in sales, as soon as I walked up here, thought to themselves, this guy buys extended warranties. I know what I look like. I don't exactly know the kind of energy I give off on a first impression. I do know that it means if I go to any type of ethnic restaurant, it is a 100% guarantee that I will be cautioned about spice. It's not easy getting a medium with this face. Yeah, I have a medium. No, you won't. Not here, you won't. You had our medium? I doubt it. Guy looked like you got a medium yesterday. We had to call an ambulance. So you can have a mild and a milk. There's a lot of things I wish I knew going into this jewelry store. Number one thing I wish I knew about buying an engagement ring is you don't get to take the ring home from the store that day. Whoops, wish I knew that. They gotta make it the right size. So I just drove to the mall, maxed out my credit card, and then drove home with nothing. Like, gee, I sure hope they call. But they did call. I got lucky, I guess. I go back to pick up the ring. This is where it gets weird again. I show up, I was like, hi, my name's Ivan. You said my ring was ready? And the guy goes, oh yeah, okay. Then he goes in the back, he comes out. He's got the ring in a tiny Ziploc bag, like it was evidence in a murder. And he tried to hand it to me like that. I didn't even accept it. And he goes, oh, do you need a box? Yeah. Who's proposing without the box? That's the whole thing. How smooth of a guy do you think I am that I'm gonna kneel down and just dangle that out there like, babe! You wanna stay together till we're dead? They wrote my name on here in pen. Could be your name.
Last year for spring break, we did Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Been to Gatlinburg? If you've never been, let me tell you about it, all right? Gatlinburg is an American Indian word. It means land of the couples that wear matching airbrush t-shirts. I don't know if that's accurate, but it's accurate. And they always pick the same design, too. This is what it looks like. It's a silhouette of a much skinnier couple than the people who are wearing the t-shirts. And on the shirt, this couple, they're holding hands. They're in love, you guys. Their feet are in the sand. They're under a palm tree. There's a rainbow sunset on what is clearly the ocean in the background. Then they just write Gatlinburg across the top so that you know which of the islands in the Smoky Mountains that they visited, right? They're not smart people. But it's great for people watching. If you like to people watch, this is your spot, okay? I don't know if you enjoy it or not, but man, there's no better hobby. It's free. You know, you just sit there with someone you love and talk about the trash walking by for a couple hours, right? Gatlinburg is prime pickings. I mean, there's not that much white trash in a dumpster behind a paper plate factory. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's special. I love people watching so much, I take pictures when I do it and trade them with my friends like they're baseball cards. Now, if you're into something like that, let me just give you a tip. Make sure that the flash and the sound on your phone are turned off, which I know sounds like a no-brainer. Guys, I've been doing this a long time. I messed up, bad. I'm in line for security at the airport. I'm going this way. Coming at me is a gentleman, Hawaiian shirt, shaved face, but out of the top of his shirt was this perm, I don't know the right, a tuft. It was the brightest, whitest, bushiest chest hair I've ever seen in my life. And I've been to Sarasota. This was next level, dude. It was teased, possibly bleached. He looked like a Build-A-Bear whose neck had been slit to send a message to the other Build-A-Bears to pick it up because numbers are down, right? And I knew if I didn't get a picture of him, I wasn't gonna be able to sleep that night. But here's the rub. I couldn't do it from this distance and this angle. No one's gonna see how awesome it is. If I want some likes, I gotta time it so that when he's passing by, I can get that side view, you know, the profile. So to do that, I have a face I make. It's very simple. The only thing I'm trying to convey with this face is what? I'm just checking Twitter, even though my phone's kind of pointed in your general direction. He stops right here. I hit the button. It's like, blick, flash. I was like, there's a Pokemon on your shoulder, sir. Just hold on. We'll get it. Just be careful, okay? The other tip, if you're gonna take pictures while you people watch, is to make sure that you have a full battery, charge up. Because that's what happened to me in Gatlinburg when I went to go people watching. I was at my favorite spot to do it there, which is the old-fashioned candy kitchen. I love that place, because no matter what time of day you show up, you're gonna see the same thing. There's gonna be a hillbilly pressed up against the window who can't figure out how they're making taffy on the other side of the window. And it's the greatest day of their life. They're just like, what? Nuh-uh. Hey, come look. Come look. It's where they make it. The taffy for Cracker Barrel. Yes, right here. I don't know how they do it, even though I can see the whole process. This is... I saw her standing there a block away. The Mickey Mantle rookie card of people watching. I got so excited, I was like, I've heard about you. Oh, you are coming home with me. Easy, girl. Easy, girl. I'm not gonna hurt you. Got close enough to take the picture, press the button, just a dead battery sign. What? No! I scared her. She ran back into Ripley's, believe it or not. Believe it or not. And I just sat down on the bench right there in between the Pancake Pantry and Fanny Farkle's arcade. I was so mad, you know? All this time I tracked her. I just let her get away. I wish I could pull up a picture so you could see how awesome she was, but I can't because I was careless. So I'll just describe her as best I can. She had early 1990s hair. Remember that look? Pulled back tight in a ponytail, but in the front. In today's news, that thing defied all logic and gravity. I always wondered how that was formed, you know? Because I always only ever saw the finished product, and then I showed up too early for homecoming one year. And there she was in front of the big mirror. So that was that lady's hair, okay? She was so perfect. She looked like someone that might frequent a Long John Silver's / Kentucky Fried Chicken, 2-in-1 fast food restaurant. You ever go to one of those places? Another great spot for people watching. I don't know what it is, but the average redneck brain cannot process that there are two businesses operating behind one counter and sharing the menu space above. And the first time they see it, it just catches them off guard. They're like, okay, could I get a... Okay, what happened here? Am I in a food court? Like, what? I want chicken. I can order from both of them. It's the same company. Oh, I didn't, okay. Wow, okay, well, I'm getting a family meal deal. I get 2 sides. Could I get a side from this side and then a side from that side? I can? Okay. Well, extra biscuits. I knew that before I came in here. And, what does Long John Silver's have? Hush puppies. Ooh, can I do that? 2 breads? I can? Oh, yeah. Let's go there. And I was wondering, like, what is the big thing here, you know? Because I know that you think I'm joking just for the sake of doing comedy. I'm not, okay? Sit by the register in one of these 2-in-1 fast food spots. 10 minutes tops, you'll hear a sentence that has never been formed in the history of words. It's because there's too many options and people aren't prepared and they get up there and then a line forms behind them and they get nervous and they're like, oh, do green beans go with tacos? Like, I don't even know what I'm looking at. It's the best. It really is the best. If you're gonna do it, and I recommend you do it, just make sure half of wherever you go is Long John Silver's, because that is the place that brings them out, okay? At any Long John Silver's, you will hear a grown man ask for extra crumbs, which I feel is just a new low for our society. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Long John Silver's is a fast food seafood restaurant. And what they do is they take chicken and fish and they dip it in a batter and then they put it in the fryer. And when they flip it out of the fryer, little pieces of that batter break off. And then a pile of all those little pieces form. And then people go, hey man, can I get a scoop of the stuff that thing's been laying on? Can I put some of that in my treasure chest? And when I heard it, I was like, did that guy just ask for more crumbs? She pushes a button on the register. Boop, crumbs, 10 cents. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. What? How often does this happen? I mean, I thought I could be witnessing the first time in the history of Long John Silver's where some guy's like, I'm so embarrassed to tell you this, but I'm a little short on cash. I got a long drive ahead of me. I'm so hungry. Could you just, I don't know, put some of that stuff into a cup? I could snack on it. No. It happens so much. It has been programmed into the register. Think about that. If whatever you want to call that stuff has its own button, which I'm pretty sure we'll all agree was not in their original business plan. That tells me there was a day that something happened. At some Long John Silver somewhere, something happened to bring us to where we are. And as a people watcher, I'm just sad I wasn't there to see it. Because I pictured it in my head 1,000 times, right? Some toothless manager just comes storming out of the back. Hey! Somebody's gonna have to start paying for these crunchies, all right? I can't be giving this stuff away. I mean, if everybody's gonna ask for it, we gotta figure something out, all right? I don't know how to make it. It's an accident. Y'all just love free stuff. That's why we got rid of tartar sauce pumps and switched to packets. 2 per customer. Y'all were just pumping it right into your boats. Nobody needs that much tartar sauce. Nobody. I'm sick of it. And he tries to slam that door, but it's that metal kitchen door, right? Now you can just hear him in the back. I ain't settling down, Ricky. I'm sick of this. They don't pay me to put up with it. I'm so mad my hand's shaking. I'm supposed to bowl tonight. Now what? I'm done. I said it before, but I mean it this time. I'm done. You watch. As soon as I can afford that lift kit and them Luke Bryan tickets, you ain't never gonna see me again. I'm out. Well, of course I'm going. Florida-Georgia line's opening. I ain't gonna miss that show. They're the only 2 dudes that even settle me down right now. You do that? All right. Well, then you take the Nelly part. You make me want to roll my window. Look, you're kind. You're very kind. All we just learned is that I've thought way too much about an incident at a Long John Silver's that probably never happened.